that. And I appreciate really, and I know there's been a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people are feeling very frustrated. There's a lot of anguish going on. There's just a lot of not good vibes going on right now as far as how people are feeling. Compared to even a month ago, kind of thing like that. So, again, from your perspective, let's talk about that. What do we need to do? And what are the steps you're taking when you're talking to your clients and the people that are really dialing into your network? What are you doing and to help them get to a point of starting to get resolve or peace, and what they need to do now in the present to make their lives better?
Wonderful question, Jay, because what's really going on, we've all been zeroed in on the election for quite a while, but the election is really just a small part of the Great Awakening that's happening. And I really believe that God is using the election as a way of awakening everybody, because it's a pretty terrifying event when you see that they've placed he's actually a rubberized puppet. If you haven't noticed, it's not a real person, and it's a series of doubles and a puppet and so on, Hollywood style, that they've created. And so that could be horrifying by itself if you weren't on your spiritual path. So what people really have to do is, like, what is your spiritual practice? What are you doing on a daily basis to stay centered and to really tap into your divine essence, your divine power? It's almost like, it sounds kind of cruel, but it's almost like God is scaring us and saying, look, if you don't get into your higher consciousness, this is what you're going to live with, these monstrous people. You'll want to vaccinate us and all this kind of stuff. But if you're focusing on 5D and on your awakening, you're going to bypass that, and you're going to continually ascend in vibration until you leave this behind, because this matrix is going to go bye-bye very soon. And as it collapses, some people that are not spiritual are just kind of going to go down with it. But for my clients, I give them specific practices that they need to start to do to get themselves into the swing of just waking up beyond this, because this is just temporary. We got to get beyond the matrix and really go into the new era that is unfolding before us. And it's all about abundance and prosperity and everything. But the homework has to be done right here, Jay. Shadow work has to be done right here. Otherwise, you're going to still live in that old world.
How do you get somebody who what you just said is so far into them? How do you help them break through? Like, what's the first steps you would say to somebody that's not going to put them automatically on the defense and never want to talk to you again?
Well, I've been known to get very blunt myself and say, get your, what together and move forward. But I'm not going to say that to anybody. The first thing I would say is that you're living in a matrix that's not real. You're living in an illusion. And this illusion is made up of lower consciousness and thought forms and past karmic actions that have created a distorted world. And so we're living out the distortions that we created thousands of years ago. And we're also living out the mind control. That's the biggest thing of all, you guys, that I want to talk about, is the mind control. This planet has been under very severe mind control for thousands of years. And this is, higher beings from other places. And when I say higher, I don't mean spiritually higher, but like aliens, fallen angelics, demonic beings, ETs, archons, reptilians. They know how to do black magic to completely wipe out your conscious mind. So you don't even remember why you came. Like, I didn't remember at first that I came here to heal people. I thought maybe I was going to be a movie star. But once I woke up, it's like, wow, this is like, I got a job to do here. And so I tell people, you need to wake up from the dream, because it's really a nightmare. And you have to be asleep to believe it,
And that's
that was
true.
the first thing.
Salini, let me ask you a question here. Looking in hindsight being the best side of all, right? And, we've had a lot of these conversations with people about, I don't think a lot of people saw what's happened now coming in any way. Everybody saw a very different story. What do you think looking back, hindsight, if you could, is there anything you feel like we all miss collectively, that some of the signs that we miss collectively that put us in a place right now that we're having to almost kind of sip? And I understand prophecies and what may or may not happen here, but really just so we can know, as we go through things like this in life again, what to be aware of. But is there any signs you think that we didn't pick up on collectively that would have been getting us more prepared for where we're at today or what we're experiencing today?
I would say that's a question of how awake is somebody, how awake is your consciousness? Because I picked up on it a long time ago, like 40 years ago. My mother and I used to talk about it. It's like there's something wrong. People are not taking action. People are allowing terrible things to happen. People are like, I can remember being a child and watching what was going down in the South in the 60s with the civil rights movement. And I kept asking my mom, why is something like this still happening in this point in time? Because didn't that happen 100 years ago and 150 years ago? It's like people need to move forward in their consciousness and not stay stuck in old traditions and old rituals. And so what happens is that people get complacent, they get asleep, they get
Sorry.
they get to the point where they don't notice what's going on. I would say that when we started seeing the government rise into more totalitarian things, like 30, 40 years ago, should have been a big enough sign for people. But the media has kept us in a trance. There's